I am so excited that you are back all month long. We are celebrating women in all of their amazingness. My name is Shantania Leggins, and I am the founder of Wealth and Elegance, which is a community that is all about engaging, educating, and equipping women with the tools and resources necessary to build wealth and well being with confidence. Ladies, you hear me say it all the time. Wealth is not just about the money, right? But it's about the powerful woman that you are going to become in the process. And that's what's so exciting, right? So, look, all month long, we've had some amazing conversations. We kicked off week one with the awesome Mimi Irvin, and she talked to us about her career and how, look, if there's not a seat at the table for you, guess what you do? You create one. You insert yourself in the conversation, right? Week two, we talked to Malika Honore, y'all. She tags herself as the mayor of credit, but she shared with us her story and how 15 years ago, she got started with her income tax check, y'all. She always had the dream of opening up a daycare, and she used her income tax check to get started. And now today, she has one of the fastest growing daycare centers, multiple locations in the state of Louisiana. And of course, she has a few other entrepreneurial endeavors, but it all started from that seed. And then, of course, last week, we heard from the precious Amaya Allen, who is the former Miss Illinois Teen USA. And she got a chance to share her story with us and just how she's grown so much. And despite the adversity that she's had, she's using her platform to pull back and pull up other young girls. So super exciting. And so today we are here in week 4. We're in the home stretch. And today we get a chance to hear from someone who is near and dear to my heart, my first lady, my spiritual mother, Miss Torsha Johnson. And so we're going to get a chance to just have some more conversation with her and find out more about who she is. We know that, of course, she is a wife. She is the first lady of Higher Dimension Church. She's a mother. She's a daughter, right? And guess what, y'all? Recently, she was promoted to a new title that I know she's excited about, grandmother. But I'll let her tell y'all what her name is that she goes by. But without further ado, y'all, let me introduce to you, present to some, right, my beautiful first lady, Torsha Johnson. How are you, Lady J?
I am well, Shantania. Thank you so much for that beautiful and warm introduction. I am truly honored to be here with you and your viewing audience. Thank you so much for the invitation. I love what you're doing. I love empowering women. And listen, you are a chief woman in power. So I congratulate you and all that you do. You keep going, honey, because you are making strides and you are making a difference in the lives of so many. So I am just happy to be here today.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It is such an honor to have you on and just kind of get a chance to, Kendrick always says, peel the onion back a little bit and find out more about you. So tell us, I know I gave them just a little bit, but who is Torsha Johnson?
Yes, you did. You did. Well, first and foremost, I'm a child of God. I am a wife. I'm an ambassador for Christ. Okay. I am a purpose leader. I'm a mother. I'm an advocate for women. I am a new nanny. That is my name for my grandbabies. I am so excited. Taj and Tori, they are 7 months old already. Taj has 2 teeth. They're growing so fast. And not only that, but I'm excited about this new season that I am entering as an inventor. So I get to share a little bit about that with you guys on today. So I'm excited about all of those things. But first and foremost, I think it's important that people know that, and I hope that it's evident in my walk and in my talk, that I am a Christian. I'm a woman of faith. I love God, and I know that He loves me. That's who I am.
Awesome. You said a few things that, you hope is evident in your walk. And, it absolutely is. One of the things I admire most about you, you have this quiet strength, this quiet confidence, right? Of course, we
Mhm.
see Pastor out leading up front. But this is what I know, being a mother, a wife, a mother of a bunch of kids, right? And keeping all of that together, there is
Yes,
no way possible he can do what he does without having you by his side. And so I love
absolutely.
that grace, just that confidence that you exude. And I don't just see that in my
Thank
interactions. I see it in how you interact with everybody, and that's just beautiful. So we
thank
definitely see
you.
it in your walk. So we're here because March is Women's History Month. It's
Yes.
women, and
Hmm.
I don't know if people know, but Women's History Month, it started off being like a day, like Women's History Day, and then
Hmm.
it became a week, and now today it's a whole month that we set aside just to celebrate the greatness of women and just the amazing strides that we've made. What is
Hmm.
Women's History Month? What does that mean to you?
Well, it's a celebration. I believe it's an accomplishment of all the things women have accomplished in so many years, generations of work coming together, unity, not giving up, persevering. It's the beauty of seeing that we were created uniquely in our own way in being women, but having the strength and the ability to do what men do. So it's an exciting time just to know that women all over the world are continuing to make strides. They're continuing to break through glass ceilings. And it's a beautiful thing to see the unity all over the world as women come together and celebrate and encourage one another in doing so. We haven't achieved all that we desire to achieve, but I'm telling you, generations and generations are coming, and I don't think they're holding back. And I think before we are said and done on this side and we are old and gray, we're going to see more of those glass ceilings broken and women doing things that we only dreamed and imagined they can do. So celebrating women, celebrating the history of women, and of course, Black women, because I am a Black woman and I'm proud to be one. To just see all the accomplishments that women have made, and to now have in the White House a Black woman as our VP, Kamala Harris. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so proud of that heritage and to be a part of that. And so much strength, comes from women of color. So I'm just excited about that. And that's what it means to me. Just the fact that we've accomplished so much in the past and we have so much more to accomplish in the future.
Oh wow, absolutely.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned, of course, we was gonna get to our new vice president, right?
Oh,
I'll never
yeah.
forget years ago when we got our first African American president. We had service at church. I remember we was at church
Hmm.
when they made the
Yes.
announcement. I never forget. But tell me, I mean, what was it like a couple months ago when we inaugurated our first African American vice president? I mean, what was it like? What were y'all doing? What was going through your head?
Oh man, listen, Shantania. I reflect back on that moment when we were in service, the night that former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, were elected as president and first lady of the United States. And the feeling of that, oh man, that was such a beautiful feeling. I think it was one that we hoped and we knew one day would come, but just the fact that it was here, that was beautiful. It was so much work put into that. And then to see after the last 4 years that we have gone through, to see that with President, the former President Trump, and just the 4 years we went through everything. And that was a challenging time for us. And so when President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were announced as our new leaders of the United States of America. Oh my goodness. It was just a feeling of pride, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling that, man, we are here. Like we have yet set another goal and have accomplished it. Michelle Obama, I absolutely adore her. She exudes beauty and grace and class.
Yeah.
intelligence, and made us really proud in being an African American woman, as the First Lady of the United States. And I just believe Kamala is going to do the same thing. I mean, just her, I love her spirit. You know, she has a confidence, like she does not play. She has a beauty about her. I love her smile. And she's one of those people, when she enters the room, you look at her and you're like, okay, I know she don't play. She beautiful, she cute, but she look like she can get with you. And I believe that's what it is about, just women of color. It's not that aggressiveness. I believe it's just that
Mhm.
confidence, about who we are and what our purpose is and why we're here. And that's what it means to me. So I'm
Oh,
excited about it.
oh wow, that is so exciting.
Hmm.
Last month during Black History Month,
Hmm.
I did a lot. I shared some facts every day about just African American women, right? That was the
Hmm.
stance I took with it. But one of the things I learned in doing that research is that African American women, I mean, women in general are amazing. I
Hmm.
totally believe that. But African American women, for generations, they
Yeah.
have had this strength, this confidence, this resiliency that is
Hmm.
unmatched, right? And
Hmm.
so I remember a couple years ago when we had the pageant winners. It was like four African Americans, at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time
Hmm.
reigning.
Hmm.
And sometimes my other sisters, they try to figure out why we get so excited. And we get so excited because, these milestones just tell us that, okay, you know what? They see
Hmm.
us now, right?
Yes.
We've been
Yes.
great. I really believe it. But they see us. And so it's just exciting. It's really
It is, and
exciting.
it's something about that, when you see that, just the milestones, right? The achievements, the resiliency. It's like, okay, if they did it, we know that our little babies and our little
Yes,
girls, they are there and they are watching and they know they are dreaming. One day I can do it too. And I think for us as women raising the next generation, it gets exciting to know that you don't know, you could be raising the next woman president of the United States of America. And I don't know who wouldn't get excited about that. So it's just a
exactly.
beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, yeah, that's truly
Hmm.
that really is a gift, especially being moms of girls,
Hmm.
knowing that they get a chance to witness this and
Yes.
this becomes a norm. This
Hmm.
becomes the way it is, right? And so they
Yes.
see themselves. That is
Hmm.
that's wonderful. Speaking of, the women that came before us and the women that are, coming up behind us,
Hmm.
what's the biggest gift you believe you've received from the women that come before you?
The biggest gift I've received is the wisdom, and I truly believe it's the perseverance.
Hmm.
It's the wisdom and the perseverance for me.
Yeah.
I know that when we look at women who have gone through a lot, right? They fought a fight, a good fight, and we celebrate them in history. But the fact that they've done that for us, we stand on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So we know that we're able to come and do the same or even more. And I
Mhm.
believe with each generation, God gives, like, He raises up leaders within a generation for a specific purpose. And we can lean back and reach back, to the Rosa Parks or to the Harriet Tubmans or to the Sojourner Truths or, to the Madam C.J. Walkers. We see things that these women did. They didn't have half the things we have today, social media, the level of resources. So I believe as you're dreaming and you're thinking about these things, like, yeah, absolutely, I can do this. I can achieve this and more, if I put my mind to it. So I think
Yeah.
for that reason, it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And so on
Hmm.
that note, let's change it. Let me switch it up a little bit. What would you say is the biggest challenge for the generations of women that's coming behind us?
I really believe with this generation because you've heard the saying, with new levels come new devils, right? So we've reached something and accomplished something, in this digital generation with social media. I mean, we're using it right now. It's a beautiful thing, just the ability to reach several people all over the world at one time, instantaneously, get a message across quicker than, a word can be spread by mouth is unbelievable. But also, I believe when you look at social media and the posts and what's existing in our culture, you can be led to believe that you have to compete with one another versus rally and support one another, right? So I believe the challenge for the next generation just simply may be the fact that we have to be allies and advocates for one another. Like, I really want to see women embrace and celebrate one another, not feel like it has to be competition. Like, if we come together, we support one another, we back one another, we are stronger together than we can ever be individually. And so I believe that may be the challenge, just with social media, not getting caught up in the competition, but being confident in who you are and what you bring and what your purpose is, and just having another sister celebrate that. And I believe that in itself is empowering to women. So that's the one thing that I believe the next generation, may be challenged by with this digital generation.
Oh wow, that is good. That's
Mm-hmm.
really good. And
Yeah.
it is such a beautiful thing to celebrate other people. Like, I get
Mm-hmm.
so excited when I see other women winning. I really
Yes,
get so excited. I get so
me
excited when
too.
I see women, not believing they can do it. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they eliminate those limiting beliefs and they really start growing on the inside and they
Yeah.
conquer stuff they didn't think they could do. Oh my gosh,
Right.
that really gets me excited. Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
does.
Me too.
Who's the woman that inspires you the most?
So, I mentioned Michelle Obama.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Just the forever first lady.
Uh-huh.
She's been come to known by so many of us women of color, and not just women of color. I mean, just so many women. And I believe if she ever did run for president, that she would really have a good chance at winning. I do believe that. But not just her, and let me say this, okay, because there are many women whom I admire, who I look up to, who have contributed just to me and being a woman, right? And for different reasons. One in particular, because I'm a woman of faith and I like to reach into my biblical history, I look at Mary, the mother of Jesus, right? A woman who was minding her own business, and God saw fit to implant his seed in her. And here is Jesus, right? And as a result of that, we're part of the family of God. So I love that about Mary, and the fact that what the angel shared with her had never been shared with anyone else. But she said, nevertheless, okay, if it's what you say, I'm rolling with it. And I love that about her, and just her story and how she supported her son all the way to the cross. That's Mary. And then you have Esther. Esther had a particular calling that even I associate myself with. The fact that, she would be married to a king, and it was her wise uncle who actually shared with her, this really is not about you, Esther, but it's about your people and how you're going to help this generation. So we really do need you to understand that you've been called to this place for such a time as this. So I love that about Esther. But then, in today's society, we have the Michelle Obamas, who broke down barriers and just was really a woman of class, as she was our first lady for 8 years. And then you have women like Oprah, who have such a wonderful heart. I love the fact that Oprah is a giver, and she gives so much to so many. And when you think about her story and just what she's gone through, and yet, she still finds it in her heart, to continually give. There's one woman in particular, that our viewers may not be as familiar with, but she had such a major and profound impact on my life. And her name was Dr. Lois Evans. She was the wife of Dr. Tony Evans, out of Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff Baptist Bible Church. And Lois Evans did something for me, in a season when I was becoming in my role as a first lady. She actually started a conference, for first ladies. It was the First Ladies Conference. And I tell you, Shantania, it was because I was a participant in that conference each year. I met other first ladies. I met first ladies who became mentors. I have friends today as a result of that conference, and it really built me up as a first lady. So when I think about my becoming and my being and who I am, I can't say that I am without mentioning Dr. Lois Evans. And she's gone on to be with the Lord, but such a woman of beauty, such an amazing mother and wife, and just the lasting impact she left on her congregation, her family, and everybody that touched her, including myself, has really meant so much to me. And she dealt with something that I'm actually going to introduce to the women of Higher D around Mother's Day, and that was her book, A Season of a Woman's Life. And that's where I was at the time. I really didn't understand the season I was in. I knew that I had purpose and I had things I wanted to do and accomplish. But my husband, we were both young. He's starting a church. I didn't know nothing about that. Like, I didn't have any training. But she helped me understand that you're in a season and seasons change. And so, that bond that I developed with her really has helped me throughout my life. So I celebrate her as a woman who's had major impact in our world today and forever on me.
Wow. Wow. You
Mm-hmm.
said a lot, okay?
That was a lot.
You said a lot, but that was so much. We're going to peel back the onion on some of that, okay?
Okay.
So, you mentioned, one of the women in the Bible who you admire is Mary, of course, right? And so, you said something how, God partnered with her to bring Jesus. And, I always share with women that we are, powerful beings, not in a boastful manner, but just understand that God partners with us to bring life. We are creators. And so, the whole idea of, what you can't do or not being good enough, like that comes from the pits of hell. That is not true. Because
Not
think
at
about
all.
it. God, all powerful, sovereign, he partners with women to
Yes,
bring
with
life.
women.
That's
That's
just
purpose, right? That is exciting. Like, if you're not a woman, you can't get excited about that, then I don't know what you can get excited about. But he does that, like, to plant seed within us, and then we have the ability to give birth, to our offspring. That's a beautiful thing that he's only given to women, right? And because my husband is a pastor, and because he always breaks it down, he talks about in the beginning when God created the man and the woman, he created them both unique in their own way. And the woman is the man with the womb, hence womb man, And so the fact that, he's done that for us. And that's not to say or to negate any woman, who has not experienced childbearing, because here's the good news. Like, apart from the fact that we have the womb to carry life, we also have this ability to nurture and to bring up and to grow, little human beings, for purpose and for life. So I don't want any woman to feel left out or discouraged. That's simply something that I love about the fact that God created us uniquely in that way. But it's just something about being feminine and having that ability to bring about life. And Shantania, it's not just the birthing of things to produce life, it's also the partnerships, right? And you mentioned that, in which we're able to bring about life and to develop that which he's given to us. And that's all about purpose. That's all about his plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you talked about Miss Lois Evans, and I absolutely adore her and her daughter. And, I just love that family and their ministry.
Yes.
But Priscilla Shire, matter of fact, I met her as a result of a conference or something we did at Higher Dimension Church some years back. And so she became one of my favorites. And one of her books that I absolutely adore that ministered me in a season of my life was Life Interrupted, right? And so as a pastor's wife, I got a question for you. Like, how to talk about the interruptions? How do you handle the interruptions? Because the reality is life happens, right? And so being, pastor, first lady,
Mhm.
life is always happening. You got a mega
Mhm.
church, and so somebody's always going through something, needs something, right? This past year, life has happened for the entire year, but y'all had to keep
Mhm.
going. Talk
Yeah.
about how do you deal, how do you handle when life is being interrupted?
That's a great, great question, Shantonia. I'm reminded in Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. He will establish your plans. So thinking about the fact that God has called us to the ministry of Higher Dimension Church. And we didn't know a pandemic was coming. We didn't know a Harvey was coming. We didn't know a Katrina was coming, right? But in the midst of that, we know that we're committed to the work that God has called us to do. And even in the midst of that, to much is given, much is required. And so that requires us to make certain that we are doing our very best as we commit to this work. And so we believe that you have to remain flexible so you don't get bent out of shape, right? If you don't remain flexible, you just may snap. And so that's something that I believe, because Pastor and I believe that, and that helps us navigate, through challenges in life, regardless to what comes. I believe there's a strength knowing that it comes from God, this work that He's called us to do. And so when we feel depleted, when we feel like, man, we don't know what to do, we know where our help comes from, right? And I'm not trying to be cliche or sound spiritual. That's just the truth. That's where it comes from. And so it just allows us to, in the midst of, all the natural disasters, catastrophes, and things that happen in life, just all the people who've experienced the loss of loved ones and trying to be present. We thank God for a congregation of individuals who love and support us. That's key. That's a huge thing. And I just thank you and your husband, because you and Kendrick, you both recognize that, so checking in, a little text message, blessing us with little cookies to let us know you thinking about us. Like, those things mean so much, because we know that there are times when we get tired of holding each other up and we're like, Lord, help. And He sends our family, our church family, to pray for us. It's not just us praying for them, but it's y'all praying for us that also helps. And then it's the fact that we have our own family, our personal family. And I share every chance I get that the fact that we going through this pandemic, the greatest blessing we could have received during it was the birth of our grandsons. And so they bring so much joy, just watching them grow. And I'm like, man, my youngest is 15, so it hadn't been that long ago. But it's something about the grandkids, Shantonia. So just watching them grow, they're such a light. And even it was just the other day when I was feeling just a little bit down, just not having the greatest day. I FaceTime them, and it's just I forget about all the other stuff, in just those moments. But I believe it's the people. And that's why, at Higher Dimension Church, we truly believe that our heart is for family. And the reason we believe that is because we know the power of connection, when you have a family. So that's why we believe in connect groups and the importance of that. And I love what you're doing with your connect group and your women. And so I know you share those same sentiments as well.
Oh wow. So let me ask you this. What type of grandparents are y'all? Because see, when my parents started having grandkids, they would always remind us, I love y'all, but it's
Mhm.
just something about those grandkids. I mean, my mama had a way of looking at us, and we knew immediately whatever you're doing, stop. But these
Yep.
grandkids come on the scene, and we just get a little soft. Are y'all those type of grandparents?
We're those type.
I
We
figured as
really
much.
are. Yeah, we really are. I wish you could see your pastor in here with these grandkids. Listen, I tease him because I'm like, you do stuff with your grands you never did with your own. I'm like looking at this, and it's a joy to watch. But as you're looking at them, like, like, this is my seed. This is part of my flesh. And this is the next generation. So I got to do everything I can to make certain that they grow healthy and whole. So we just love them to death. That's all.
Oh wow, that is so beautiful, and they are
Yeah.
so handsome. I love seeing
Thank
the pictures.
you.
Yes, yes. So you said a
Hmm.
couple things. Yes, your baby is 15.
15. Yes.
Wow. I remember
Hmm.
when we came to Higher D, I think you may have just had her. If
That's
you wasn't pregnant,
crazy.
it was like literally. And so she's 15. And so talk about that for a minute. And what I mean is, you all got started in a ministry, young family, young
Hmm.
kids, all of that, right? And so,
Hmm.
oftentimes, having kids and working, whether you're in ministry or not, whether you work with your spouse or not,
Hmm.
just you talked about those seasons of life, right? And I kind of share your sentiments. I share with women all the time. It's just the season. And I still have the older kids and the younger kids, so I'm still
Hmm.
going through, right?
Hmm.
But just
Yes.
kind of talk about that for a minute. That people look for the balance, and
Hmm.
I don't know if balance really exists, because I feel like when things are balanced, nothing is moving, right? And so
Uh-huh.
talk
Uh-huh.
about that a little bit. I mean, how did you manage? I mean, now you're on the other side a little bit, but help us out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, right. So you have three beautiful girls yourself. So, I mean, and being a wife and a mother, how this thing can go. And so Terza is 15 now. And I look back and like you, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this little girl seemed like she was just born. And I look at just the fact that she has three older brothers, right? So you have the flip of what I have. You have the one son and then three girls, and I have the one girl and the three boys. And the she has two that kind of give her a hard time, and then she has one that she considers her favorite that really helps out. But just nurturing our relationship is very important to me, because I always tell people, boys are easy and girls are fun. Like I
Mm,
really do believe that. Like boys, like they're laid back, they like, give me my sports, let me do my thing. Girls are so much fun. Like you can do stuff with them. And I guess it's because we're of the same sex. But
right.
just the fact that, watching her grow and develop in ways that I guess I really didn't pay attention to when I was growing up. And my mother didn't raise me, so I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother, she was serial entrepreneur. Like she had several entrepreneur jobs at one time,
Wow.
so it wasn't a lot of like we were really really close
Mhm.
growing up, but I was able to watch her, and she was an example of strength and dignity for me growing up. So it was things that I didn't get in my relationship with my mom or my grandmother. I'm really intentional about with my daughter, right? And us being best friends, her respecting me as mom, and just making certain that I nurture her as she continues to grow. And I'm so extremely proud of her. She just made the varsity cheerleading team. She's
Oh
a
wow.
sophomore come next year, and she's a straight A, honor roll student, not straight A student. She's an honor roll student, and she works really hard in school. And we're excited about her gift of singing that she's coming into. So, those are the great things. But I'm not going to lie to your audience. We have our moments. We have our moments when, I'm like, Terza, but I love the fact that, being a woman of faith and going to
Mhm.
scripture and looking at what God's word says, as far as me being a parent and her, what she should do and being a child, and how we talk about God's word together is what I love the most. Just having the opportunity to sow those seeds into her as a young lady as she's growing. And I know I'm going to see the fruit of it, as she becomes a woman. Those are things that I love most, just about our relationship today. So I'm excited about her future.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's exciting. So pastor's wife, did you always want to be a pastor's wife?
No. No. Not at all. The crazy thing is, and I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day, but the crazy, as I was becoming, into my role, as in being a Christian woman, because that's really was. I was a single Christian woman, right? And I rededicated my life to Christ. It was very interesting how all of a sudden it was ministers who were approaching me. So I don't know. I grew up in the church, but it was like, maybe three, that showed interest in wanting, to get to know me better. But when I met Pastor, I don't know. It was different because he wasn't a minister when I saw his picture. That's kind of how it started with me and him. I saw a picture of him. He had graduated from high school. I saw his graduation picture. It came to our house, and my grandmother opens her mail and sits it on the dining room table. And so I was walking by the dining room table, and I looked and I was like, "Oh, okay, who is that? He cute." And that was that. And so I asked her, I said, "Who is this?" And she told me who it was. And I didn't know that our family was a close knit. Our family was a very close knit family with their family, but I'd never met him. So, and his parents went to our church. I didn't know that either. So when he preached his first sermon, I was there. And so if you follow us, you know the story. I was in the choir. I had on a blue dress, and so I spoke to him. Like the entire church spoke to him after that. That's what we were supposed to do. So it wasn't like I just made my way down there, but we all were supposed to, shake the new preacher's hand and congratulate him or encourage him or whatever. And that's how we end up meeting one another. But so he had, before I knew him, he was not in the ministry. Okay. When I met him, he had just preached his first sermon. So that didn't mean he had to be a pastor though, Shantania, right? So so this whole thing with him becoming a pastor and all of that, no, that was never on my radar. Wasn't looking for that. Mm-mm.
Wow. No. Wow. Yeah. That's funny. One of the things we love about y'all so much is just the transparency, right? Mm-hmm. Like pastor sometimes has no filter.
None, right?
None, right?
None.
And so I would have to imagine, as the first lady, you have to have a great poker face. Right? And
yes.
I mean, because you know him. You know him better than anybody, okay?
Yeah.
Aside from God, you know him better than anybody. I already know. And so, I'm sure sometimes sitting there, you have to just kind of, keep your face right.
Yes. I tell everybody, like, we have no business. Like, all of it is out there, right? So it's crazy because he tells everything. But you're right. I think I've kind of mastered the poker face thing. And and we'll talk about it afterwards. But I guess, for me, I do trust him, right? So I trust whatever he shares is worth trusting. And I mean, it's worth saying and it's going to help somebody. But I do often be like, really? Like, you just don't share that? Like, sometimes he don't even talk to me about it. I look up and it's just out there for the world. So
wow. Crazy. But you know what? That's awesome though, because a lot of times, I know in our growing up, it seemed as though sometimes pastors and first ladies were untouchable. That's one of the things we appreciated so much about you all, that you real people, right? Real people. Yeah. You can touch them, you can have conversation with them, they hug the kid, you know what I'm saying? Yes. So that is truly a blessing. That is a blessing.
I'm glad about that.
Just to kind of shift a little bit, let's talk about, because I know you mentioned something earlier that you was an inventor.
Yes, so, absolutely.
I mean, talk about that as much or as little as you want. Share with us.
Okay, so right now I'm excited about where I am in this process. This has been a really long journey for me, that started back in I think it was 17 when the idea came. And so from just the ideation to the creation of the product itself has been a journey. And someone who's never gone into this world of inventing, it's been a challenging one, but one that I embraced and one that I'm excited about because I've learned so much along the way. It's really been good. So I can't reveal everything because I do intend to launch this product into the world. I do intend to give birth to this baby, but right now I am working with my second, it's actually not my second manufacturer. I should say my second American manufacturer with the product, and working on my second set of prototypes as we speak. And it's a really good company I'm pleased with so far. And I'm excited about this. So the idea came one day. I was taking a shower, and it's a solution oriented product, right? It's a product that I intend to bring to the market that does not exist. I received the patent on it January of this year, so I'm
Yay.
grateful for that. And we've trademarked the name and everything. So all that is done. Right now, it's getting the product the way we would like it to be before it comes into market. So it's a product. Well, let me just share this. I can share the name of the company. The name of the company is Shower Chic. And Shower Chic was a name, as I said, I was in the shower, right, when it came. But the solution oriented product is for the shower. And so as I said and I prayed about it, just God, is this something you want me to do? Because I've always been the one to think about how can I make something better? Like if it's difficult to do, how can I make it easier or more convenient? And so I've always kind of had that mindset of creativity. But this was different, Shantania, because I knew that I was launching into the deep. If I was going to bring a product to market that did not exist and I knew nothing about this business, this was launching into the deep. And so I really did pray about it. I was like, Lord, if this is you, like he did Peter, I said, you had to bid me to come. Like, because I will not move. If I know that I'm about to step out here and you gonna forsake me, you gonna leave me. This was Torsha's idea and not yours. I'm not doing this. And so he began to show me that he was with me early on. And since then, there's been a lot of challenges, that I've had to overcome, a lot of obstacles that I've had to get through. But so far, just every time, because I refuse to give up, right? I refuse to give in. He continues to show me that he's with me, and he continues to provide the way. The doors continue to open. And so I'm excited about introducing it to the world. But again, it's a solution oriented product, and Shower Chic is a company designed to empower the beauty of women, not the external beauty. Like there will be products for the external beauty, but like you with Pretty Is Not Enough, we're focusing on the internal beauty. That's more of the message behind the product. So we're really excited about it. I cannot wait to introduce it to the world and to everyone. I believe it's going to be a blessing.
Oh wow, I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. I am
Me
super
too.
excited. I can't wait to, you launch and we get a chance to celebrate you and promote what you're
Yes.
doing.
Right. And I'm celebrating with the family on
Mm-hmm.
purpose
Mm-hmm.
first, because the family doesn't know this. And when I say family, I'm talking about HD. Because the family has been a support for me this entire time, just in my growth, just in my development. So yeah, the family will be introduced to it before the entire public will. So just keep note of
Awesome.
that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a
Yes.
big deal. That is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal. What's something that most people probably don't know about you?
If I can be very transparent, I don't know, this might be even some kind of gross, but I'm
No,
gonna
go ahead.
share it because I'm free to be me.
You are.
I love that. I love that about you, and I believe that's what you exemplify, just this confidence in being yourself. And so, one thing people don't know about me is that I pick my nose. Now I know you didn't know I was gonna say that.
Did not.
I pick my nose, and let me tell you why I do it, Shantalia. Girl, I do it because I do not ever want to be that person in the room talking to somebody and I have something in my nose. Like, I'm like that level of self-consciousness, like in my well-being, because I'm all about being well. I got to be clean. So that's important to me. So I do. People don't know that, but well, some people do. I think a few staff members may have saw me do that one time. But I
Well,
do. I pick my nose. But the reason I do it, you guys, is because, like I said, I don't want to ever be the person that you're talking to, and it's like, oh, she got something in her nose. I like a clean nose,
uh-huh.
and I don't know. Maybe it's to help me smell better. I don't know, but that's just something that I do. But on the flip side, another thing that people probably don't know about me is that I really am a chief supporter, right? That's a new title that I have in being a chief supporter in ministry. So alongside pastor, I have the beauty of being a full-time volunteer, and I work pretty much in every area of the church. And because I like to work behind the scenes, most people don't know that about me. So I think that's probably one of those interesting things that people don't know. But yeah, pretty much in every area of the church. And I'm currently working since the pandemic with our culture, our environments, the way things look, the way things feel. So I'm excited about doing that in both of our campuses in Katy as well as Southwest.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
exciting. It's really exciting. What,
Mhm.
I mean, what did you want to be growing up? Like, what, everybody, okay, I want to be a this, I want to be a that. What did you want to be growing up?
I thought I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I thought. I fell in love with my fifth grade teacher. Her name was Miss Jenkins, and African American woman, beautiful, but I could tell she loved what she did. And it was
Mhm.
something about Miss Jenkins that made me think, you know what, I could do this to help other people. So I wanted to be a teacher until someone had a conversation with me. I'm not going to say who it was, but they was like, teachers don't make a lot of money. So you need to do something different. And that just kind of shattered, just my plans of being a teacher. So I'm like, and I love teachers. Like today, teachers are the absolute best. Like, where would we be as
Yeah,
moms raising children
yeah.
without teachers? Teachers are the bomb. So whoever said that, they obviously know what they were talking about at the time. But nevertheless, I listened to it. And so that changed. That shift changed from being a teacher, and I end up studying psychology in school. But yet I find today that I'm still in the role of teaching. So isn't it interesting how, as children, things we desire to be and do, it still shows up in our adulthood. So I thought that was interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
Hmm.
know when I first joined Higher D, we had the JASA ministry, Justice Sister Way, and then
Yes.
the Women of Virtue, right? And so of course,
Hmm.
being a first lady, you can't help but to be a woman supporter and encourager, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so what are some, I know you mentor and counsel a lot of women and have women
Hmm.
all around, but what are some assumptions about women in general that you'd like to change?
um I think one assumption about women is that women can't get along with other women,
Mhm.
um, and that women have to be reticent, just reserved and quiet. They can't speak out or lead well. And I think that's something that I find in relationships with husband, wife, or relationships with singles in relationships with other women. It's interesting to hear how many single women, feel like they don't have the support of other single women,
Yeah.
or they can't relate for whatever reason. And what I find is really it's just a matter of if we can deal with our own insecurities, right? And if we can deal with who we are as individuals, and we can develop and grow and become healthy minded, we'll see that not only do we need the support of other women, but it's, as I stated earlier, it's when we come together how we can accomplish more together than we ever could individually. And then in relationships with men and women, just this need to compete, or the need for the woman to feel like she has to lead if the husband is not. And I think it's important for women to not only understand their purpose, but become confident in who they are individually, right? And when you can identify with who you are in being a Christian or, just identify with God being your creator and your maker, you can understand that your assignment in life is where he places you, but your purpose in life is one that won't change. So regardless, wherever you're assigned, your purpose remains the same. And so you can see that with women just in their role, it's really just a matter of them identifying, understand, man, God said you're uniquely created, like you're wonderfully made, like this is who you are. And once you identify with that, okay, so now I can understand, okay, in this assignment, in being a wife, or in this assignment, in being a nurse or a doctor, these are things that I'm doing as a minister for God. And then he'll change whatever platform that I may be on in order to serve that purpose and that calling. And that's what I find a lot of times with women.
Wow, that's good. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. And so this will take us into our last conversation.
Okay.
A couple years ago, you all kicked off, y'all started The Answer, right?
Yes.
Are we going to hear any more about The Answer?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
I sure hope so. And it's so interesting how The Answer came about. Pastor and I, we share our own personal experience in our marriage and things, and how things were, pretty rough at the time. We were even talking divorce. And so we decided, what, before we do this, we better do it God's way, because we don't need no level of backlash behind doing it our way, right? It was pretty serious. We understood the following we had. We understood the people that God had called to the ministry. So we wanted to make certain that before we made any decision, do anything, we really needed to see God and what he was having us to do. And it was his answer over our desire and what we were thinking would be the right thing to do that really led us to the birth of the Answer movement. And so in that season, I think with the launch of the Answer movement, and we got so much positivity, wrote the book, people were blessed by it, we were blessed by it, and we were actually really blown away because we didn't expect that level of growth and movement with that particular project. And so now here we are years later, and we're like, okay, so are we? Are we? And so I cannot say when, but I really hope so. There's been quite a bit of talk about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see something coming along real soon.
Well, I absolutely hope so, because just marriage definitely was created by God, right? And so we definitely we need those examples of healthy Black marriages, right? And so we definitely look forward to hearing about The Answer some more. Question for you though, I remember y'all said something before that you, and I might mess it up, so correct me if I do, that you don't date to marry, you marry to date. So something like that, right?
That's right. You said it right.
As we spend time with women, there are a lot of single women who desire to be wives, right? And so I'm in quite a few groups and circles that is predominantly single women. And I just hear some of the conversations and so forth, and I just feel like my thought process might be a little skewed, just because Kendrick and I were high school sweethearts, and so I don't really remember being single and or whatever. And so my question is, or just talk about what's some advice, or what can you share with women who they desire to get married. I know you talked earlier about how if you work on you, if you get kind of like your mind together and just identifying what God has for you, that's something that's very important. Just kind of talk a little bit about that whole idea of women wanting to get married, and then put a little spin on it. Today, so many women are independent. I mean, really independent. They I heard somebody say, back in the day, the reason why our grandparents and great grandparents stayed was because they didn't work, and so they needed the guy to take care of them and all of that, right? I thought it was funny, right? But so many women are truly independent. I mean, they make salaries, and they can take care of things from that standpoint. Help us out.
Absolutely.
Help the women out, Lady J.
All right. So man, you said a lot.
I did.
The piece about, okay, go back, say it again real short. So I want to make
So
sure
just
I answer.
basically, share some encouragement, some advice to the women who desire to get married, but
Gotcha.
maybe they feel like, I don't know how they say, all of the good ones taken, or this, that, and the other. Just,
Mm,
just, just help the ladies out. Give us some advice. I know you got some
gotcha.
wisdom that you can share with them.
Well, one thing I want to encourage the women is God brings people together for purpose, right? And I know as a single woman, I was a single woman one time, Chantanelle was a single woman one time, even if we were still teens, we were single women, right? And then you fast forward today and you look at what we've been able to accomplish within our marriages, right? So birthing children, birthing businesses together, right? Reflecting the image of God in the earth
Mm.
is really important. So I think, if women could really understand, okay, if I'm supposed to be married, right? And I desire to be married one day, can I trust God to allow me to allow the man that he has for me to find me? Can I trust God enough with that? Because the truth of the matter is, ladies, what's going to happen in those seasons when things get challenging and difficult and you want to call it quits? You're going to call on the creator, the one who you're praying to now about this individual that you hope is your husband one day. You're going to call on him one day because you're going to need him in the midst of those challenges and those tensions and when you want to call it quits. So if you're going to trust him when you get in it, why don't you trust him before you get in it, right? He is God over all. Like he knows everything. He knows right now where your boo is. He knows that he is working on your boo. And I like to encourage a lot of women. Sometimes they be like, wait, yeah, why he taking so long? It's all these good looking men out here, they're homosexuals, or it's a lot of good men. Are they already taken? Or, and then the ones that left just don't look like, come on, ladies. Like, really? God created everybody. He knows everybody. And since he does, you have to just really trust. That's the best advice I could give you. It really boils down to
Mm.
you trusting God with your life and the man that's going to marry you for you to do life with. And I think sometimes we want to get ahead of God. We want to do it ourselves. And as a result of that, we have to deal with those consequences of doing it ourselves. So even though Adam was minding his own business, remember, it was God's idea. God said it's not good for Adam to be alone. So don't you believe it's an Adam out there somewhere in the world? God say it's not good for that individual to be alone. And if he did it for Adam, I believe he'll do it for another man. And you can be the answer. You are somebody's Eve in the world today. You just have to believe that and you just have to trust God. But in the meantime and in between time, work on you. Work on becoming a better version of yourself. Work on the most important relationship that you can ever have. And that's your relationship with your creator, with God the Father. And I just believe and trust that he is not partial. He is not a respecter of persons. I believe he did it for Shantany and I know we love our husbands. I believe he'll do it for you too. And that's really the encouragement I have for your audience.
Absolutely. And I just think, listen, if you are single looking for a spouse, if you already married with your spouse, whatever your situation is, that was a word. Just trust
Mm-hmm.
God, right?
Trust
We
him.
trust him in the
Yes.
good seasons, we trust him in the bad seasons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think if, we can get to the place that no matter what's happening or what's not happening, we just trust that God is sovereign. He knows
Mm-hmm.
best and that he will get us through. So that I think,
Yes.
Lady J, that is a great end to our conversation. Just in
Awesome.
all things, trust God. Trust
Trust
and
him.
believe. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. Well, listen, I have absolutely enjoyed having you on today. I really appreciate you saying yes and just sharing your heart with the listeners on today. I know that you all got a lot of nuggets. I mean, she is a mom, a first lady, a wife, a grandma. I mean, she got a lot of wisdom, right? And so I hope you was able to pick up some of that on today. And so look, This is week 4. We are headed into week 5. Right, next week is our final week of Women's History Month. Wednesday, March 31st, the last date of the month, the last day of March. And we have a special treat. I will not say who it is, but we're gonna go live. We're gonna do it live Wednesday the 31st. And the person that I have, she is special. And trust me, you want to hear from her. So she has a lot of wisdom, and I'm sure she's gonna be dropping gems because that's just what she does. And so I can't wait to have her on. But again, Lady J, thank you. I appreciate you so much. This was good.
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, any closing comments? Anything else you want to share?
Listen, I just want to encourage your audience. I love what you're doing, Shantania. I believe that pretty is not enough. And I just want to encourage each of you as you follow this amazing, beautiful woman of God. Just know with everything in you, she the real deal. Like, Shantania, I love you. And listen, I love what you're doing with women. I love as you continue to lead women, inspire and empower them and encourage them. I know the world is a better place. Love you so much. Thank you again for this opportunity. God bless you all. And I look forward to our time together next time.
Thank you.